she's got a different thing on, and they don't know she's sending texts. What the fuck? Spencer, because she is the girl boss of the century, she realizes we need to go back to the Lost Woods Resort and we need to look at room 2, not room 1. So she and Mona drive back to the Lost Woods Resort. They go to room 2, and what do they find? Bitch, they find A's lair. I love this lair. A's lair honestly deserves a episode of Architectural Digest Open Door series on YouTube. In the lair, there's photos of the girls, newspapers, costumes, and a whole bunch of A shit, okay? Mona finds sketches of a black swan costume that someone at the masquerade is wearing. Could it be A? Okay, next we get an absolutely iconic scene where Spencer is looking in a bag and she's like, cashmere sweaters? And she realizes that Mona is A. Yes, that is correct, ladies and ladies.
Donnie, come back.
Mona is A. Look, if I'm going to be completely honest, that's my bestie and she did nothing wrong. She was fully justified in everything that she did. So Spencer realizes that Mona is A.
Thank you.
And Mona hits Spencer over the head with a flashlight and this girl boss is now unconscious. We'll talk about the A reveal in a second, but I have to say, Troyan absolutely bodied the cashmere sweaters. At the ball, we see the Black Swan talking to Jenna and Lucas. That will become partially kind of important later. Spencer wakes up in a car with Mona driving. Mona invites Spencer to join the A team and tells her that the reason she became A is because she hated them for stealing Hannah from her. I don't know about all that. I guess the key context here is that
I don't know about all that.
Hefty Hannah. She was unpopular, and Mona used to be losing.
I'm watching a YouTube video right now.
And then the two of them started becoming friends. Together, they maximized their joint
Thank
slaying.
you for liking the live.
And then Mona's saying that the girls came back together and they took Hannah away from her. But the timeline
it's almost midnight.
Doesn't really make sense because the texts from A are what got the girls back together in the first place. And also, apparently, Alison was receiving texts from A before she disappeared, unless Mona is not the A that sent Alison the text messages before she disappeared, but then why would there be two people who are not corroborating with each other, texting Alison both as A? Boom. Also, Mona's a little bit cooked, because if she's like, Hannah's my bestie, I want Hannah, I don't want anyone else to be friends with Hannah, girl, you ran her over with a car. Spencer manages to pull the handbrake and get out of the car, and they tussle. I know you girls like to tussle. And Mona falls off the edge of a cliff and survives. I think in the book she actually snaps her neck and dies. The police arrive, and guess who's back? Dr. Sullivan. She tells the girls that Mona threatened her son, which is why she disappeared, and she diagnoses Mona with a personality disorder with which she experiences a sense of hyperreality and omnipresence. There's a scene of Mona sitting in lockup, and we can hear her thoughts, and she says, everything is working out as planned. The police say she's criminally insane and she gets sent to Radley Sanitarium, which is the big location for season 3. At the end of the episode, we see that Mona is in Radley and gets a visit from someone in a red coat. And Mona says to this person, I did everything you asked me to. Bruh. I was on the floor screaming. It was everything that I asked for and more. Marlene really came through and she did that for us. That's not the end of the episode, because Maya dies. There's a scene where the song Suggestions is playing when Emily finds the ambulance and her mum tells her that Maya has been found, as in her body has been found. Very reminiscent to the pilot when Alison's body was found. Maya tells Emily that Alison's body's been found. This time, her mum, Pam, tells Emily that her girlfriend Maya, who's gone missing, her body's been found. Like, fuck. Emily was in the trenches this season. It's only about to get worse for her in season 3. Okay, let's talk about Mona as A some more. On the whole, I did it because you stole Hannah from me. I think that would make more sense if Hannah was a little bit, like, better off than the rest of the girls in season 1. But actually, Aria has the least impact in season 1 and 2. Like, the least shit happens to her. She gets some, like, messy plot lines with Ezra Crust, but that's it. The rest of them have some real major shit going on. Overall, I would say phase 1 of the Pretty Little Lies A overarching arc, the story of Mona being A is pretty airtight and pretty well executed. And maybe that's because at the crux of it, it's still very similar to the books. When things start splitting from the source material more in seasons like 3 to 5, that's when we're truly in the trenches. This arc is my favorite. I do really like season 4, and there's some episodes in season 3 and season 5 that are really good too. But overall, this story is pretty bloody good. This right here, Oscar-worthy performance. So what you're looking at on the wall is the state of affairs at the end of the first A reveal. I decided to add the first half of season 3 to this video because it's still very heavily linked to the Mona is A thing, even though she's locked up in Radley. In later interviews, Marlene says that the season 2 finale is when the second person takes over the A game from Mona. But that doesn't really make sense, especially if Mona is saying to someone, I did everything you asked. Oh my god, wait, unless her perception was like messed up because
my
she was
Instagram is a Palma, and then the link in my Instagram, you can find
Marlene,
everything.
I take back everything bad I ever said about you, you're so right. The elves.
I know, Gatorade is so
ziplining.
good. It's like
we've got
kind of
what are their names
addicting.
again? Glizzy, Slime Girl, Blob, and Eminem. As you can see, everybody, we've added blue lines, which indicates season 3. As I said before, we are doing season 3A in this video, and we'll do 3B in the next video. A lot of these lines will carry over to the next one. To be honest, I'd just like you all to acknowledge the fact that I put an extreme slay amount of effort into this. And I'd like to give you a pointed example of such activities. This crusty right here, Holden. Look at this line. To Emily Fields. And that interaction happens like once in one episode in season 3. And I'm doing this for you. Just kidding, I'm doing it for me. But you can appreciate it too. Also, as I was putting up the season 3 lines, I realized that I'm going to run out of crosses real fucking quick. So at the moment, Allison's dead. Ian's dead. Maya's dead. By the end of this video, 2 more people will be dead. And yes, that's a threat. So picking up from the season 2 finale, we are now on episode 48. Well, season 3, episode 1. And the events of this episode are 5 months after the events of the season 2 finale. So it is now August 2011. The girls, Glizzy, Slime Girl, Blob, and Eminem are having a sleepover in guess where? Spencer's barn. Now, this is very much reminiscent of the pilot, and there are a lot of similarities between this episode and the first episode of season 1, and a lot of the plot points, actually, interestingly enough. We soon find out that Emily has become a little bit of an alcoholic after Maya's death. She's not dealing with that well at all.
I forgot about that.
Understandable. Also, in this opening scene of season 3, they're listening to S&M by Rihanna. So the budget was truly secured that episode. Aria and Hannah wake up and they're like, where are these other 2 besties? Spencer comes in and says, I can't find Emily, babe. I'm getting flashbacks. We soon find out that Emily has dug up Allison's grave. A little bit of fun activities, August 2011, digging up Bestie's grave. Well, more accurately, Emily was too drunk to actually do the digging, so someone else has dug up the grave and Emily's standing over the open grave holding a shovel. Marlene loves a shovel, and she's so correct for that. Shovels in this show mean so much. There should honestly be a picture of the shovel. So Emily is standing over Allison's open grave. The body is gone, and she can't remember anything. She doesn't know how she got there. She doesn't know how she dug up the body brackets. She didn't. So let's give a quick summary of Emily's 2011 so far. We've got growth hormones in her shoulder cream, a stomach ulcer from stress, her girlfriend was murdered, and she's being framed for digging up Bestie's grave. So she's gone through it. Aria, waiting for her to get some kind of issues in this show. She will get one soon, thankfully enough. Hannah went through it season 1. Spencer, oh, babe, just look at the amount of lines here. She's going to be in the trenches come season, I don't know, 4 or 5. Also, I'd like to point out that in season 3, Shay Mitchell, who plays Emily Field, absolutely demolished her performance. It was so good, so believable. Shout out to Shay Mitchell. So the girls find out where Emily has gone and they go and pick her up from the grave, and they're like, all right, we're going to cover this up. Initially I was like, what the fuck?
Thank you. I hope you have a good night.
But that's for power of friendship. To be honest,
Donnie, what are you doing?
If that was me and I was Hannah and my bestie has been framed for digging up a grave, I'd be like, oh, you're kind of on your own there. Sorry, like, I don't want to be collateral. I did some research, and apparently digging up someone's grave is like 10 years in jail. So I understand why they're like, oh shit, we need to cover this up. Hannah and Aria take the shovel to the woods, they clean off all the prints, bury the shovel, they burn all of Emily's clothes, and then they say that they were at Spencer's lake house. They were not at a lake house, they were at the barn. But they're telling everyone they were out of town at Spencer's lake house. This will unravel later, I think in season 4. After they pick up Emily from the cemetery and they're going back to Spencer's house, they see Lucas. And he is being shady, running around Rosewood
I
at
don't
like
really
3
go
a.m.
out much, so I don't have
Interesting.
any
Could this be
recommendations.
who set Emily up? We thought Mona was A, and Mona is in Radley. It's true, she is. But there's
Hi,
a new
thank
A in town.
you.
a big A. That's what we're going to refer to this character as. Big
Donnie,
A.
what are you
In terms
doing?
of Mona being
Donnie.
at Radley, we find out that Hannah has been going to visit her to work out why she's done all this stuff to her, but Mona doesn't acknowledge her presence and just stares into the wall. This supreme slay and also unhinged girl boss is pretending to not hear anything, but she's actually listening. For what and why? Maybe we will find out soon, maybe we won't. And that's up to Marlene. From the scenes of Hannah visiting Mona at Radley, we also discovered that Mona is seeing apparitions of Allison, and Allison's always wearing the red coat when Mona sees her. I think it's episode 48 when we get a very memorable quote from Spencer. Spencer is talking about Mona, and she says,
I'm not alone.
Crazy.
I live with 2 other people.
Aria's parents are getting divorced. Remember when Mona and Spencer went to the Lost Woods Resort and found A's lair? Well, we find out that Spencer, Hannah, and Aria went back to the lair after Maya's body was found. They didn't want to tell Emily because she was going through it, as we know. They go back to the lair and it's been disassembled. So now Spencer is trying to put the lair back together in like this 3D model on her computer. The disassemblification of A's lair raises the question, who disassembled it? Mona was in Radley, Garrett is in jail. Speaking of Garrett being in prison, Spencer visits him and he says he's innocent and knows a lot of information, including who took Allie's body, but he won't say anything until Spencer's lawyer mother, Veronica, represents him, which will happen in about 2 episodes' time. Emily starts to remember pieces of the night of the grave digging. And this entire plot arc is so extremely annoying. The thing that annoys me about it is that there are so many like red herrings and plot holes and just unnecessary additions to it. The first piece of information that Emily remembers is being in the back of a blue car which Jenna is driving. And we find out Jenna is wearing a red coat. Now, Jenna wearing the red coat has no meaning or value. The fact that Jenna was driving the car is important. The fact that she was wearing red apparently is a coincidence. It's another example of like an unnecessary coincidence that just complicates the plot. At the end of the season 3 premiere, the girls are sent photos of them at Allie's dug up grave with a text that says, Mona played with dolls, I played with body parts, game on bitches, -A. Episode 49, A sends Emily a necklace which says dead girls can't smile with human teeth on it. Slay. This new A is sending literal pieces of human to the girls. After Eminem, Glizzy, and Slime Girl find out that Blob has been visiting Mona in Radley, initially they're mad, and they're like, wait, hold on, we need you to keep going to work out who this new person is. Garrett tells Spencer that someone she knows has her completely fooled, and that people lie, but medical records don't. Okay, the way this man starts talking in circles and does not stop for like 12 episodes. Now remember when I said that Emily started to recall that Jenna was driving the car? At this point, they're like, wait, but isn't Jenna Bestie blind? They find out the surgery that she had 6 months ago in season 2 actually worked, but she's been telling everyone that it did not work because she is still a target. And at the end of the episode, we have A buying multiple black hoodies, implying A-team. The first half of season 3, and especially episode 50, has a bunch of Radley scenes. Now, Radley, as I said, is Radley Sanitarium, which is like a mental institution. And the way that they frame mental illness in this show, it makes me a bit uncomfortable, to be honest. Oh my god, also get this, right? Melissa is back, and she's no longer pregnant. It's implied that at some point over the last 5 months, Melissa has had a miscarriage. But Spencer works out that Melissa is lying, and the miscarriage was actually way before she says it was. And Melissa has been faking the pregnancy, which means she could be the Black Swan from the Masquerade Ball at the end of season 2. Boom. Also, in episode 50, we get some Jenna flute scenes. Now, don't forget, Jenna invented the flute. Also, Jenna tells the girls that she found Emily walking around that night, referring to the grave digging night, and she tried to take her home, but Emily jumped out of the car at some point. My back is aching, my bra's too tight. Remember how Hannah has been visiting Mona in Radley? Well, suddenly, Ren Kingston, our little Dr. Sir, is working at Radley Sanitarium, so that's what this line is here. We also find out that Lucas has been visiting Mona. Now, why the fuck would he want to visit Mona? We are actually going to find out. Also, Hannah and Ren kiss. In episode 51, we meet Nate St. Germain. Now, this plot line, when I say these plot lines annoy me, this is the one that annoys me the most. Let me summarize this 12-episode arc in one sentence. Nate St. Germain is not Maya's cousin. He's her stalker, Lyndon James, who killed her, and he tries to kill Emily. He also shoots Caleb, and he dies because Emily stabs him in self-defense. Give a few seconds to soak that in. Detective Darren Wilden Krusty has been visiting Mona, citing a court order for the De Laurentiis St. Germain murder cases. Melissa tells Spencer she lost the baby when Ian died, and that she was blackmailed with the fake pregnancy secret to wear the dress that she was sent and act as a distraction for Jenna at the masquerade ball. Now, why would Mona want Jenna to be distracted?